the Statue of Liberty is an iconic monument, and the French want it back. And I don't know if the US wants to give it back. Tell us in the comments whether you want to give the Statue of Liberty back to France. But I think that this is really...
And if you're French, tell us in the comments how much you want it back.
Exactly.
And start fighting in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what we want to see.
We want engagement also. Tell us what you feel about it. Do you think that the Statue of Liberty should leave New York and go back to France? They already have one, a smaller one.
They've already got one at home, have they?
Yeah.
The Statue of Liberty they tell you about and the one you've got at home.
Exactly. Right. So before we begin with this really interesting discussion, we have Islander 3 magazine. This is the 3rd issue, and Rory did a really good job with the artistic view of it. Carl has written an article for it as well. Luca Johnson has also written about it. He is taking characters from Lord of the Rings and writing for them, and it's really...
There's lots of interesting stuff in here.
Exactly. And it's just £14.99.
You can also buy it anywhere in the world, from what I've been told.
Exactly.
America, you can buy it. Australia, you can buy it.
Yeah, Canada, you can buy it. France, you can buy it. If you're waiting for the Statue of Liberty and it doesn't come, and you want something to do while you're waiting, you can get Islander 3.
Seamless.
Right. Also, we have good merch. We have the Islander mug. We have the Islander t-shirt. But also, we have other stuff here. You can definitely check out our merch store, t-shirts. Yeah. We have also Admiral Nelson, the winner of the Trafalgar.
Mm-hmm. Well, he did die. I feel like that's a strange win, but he won the battle.
Yeah. Right. We also have Calvin's Common Sense Crusade t-shirt. Anyway, check our store. Right, so we have here a French member of the European Parliament called Raphael Glucksmann, who basically says, give us back the Statue of Liberty. We gave it to you as a gift, but apparently you despise it. So it will be just fine here at home.
He does know what liberty means, right? I mean, they're getting rid of government spending and wanting to reduce taxes. Wasn't the American Revolution about reducing, it's about taxation without representation, that tax that we imposed upon them, well, the British Empire imposed upon them, and now they're getting rid of taxes. Apparently that's different. Hang on a minute.
Tell me, what do you think? Should this happen?
I mean, why, if France was okay with it then, what has changed? Well, I know that politics has become a lot lamer, a lot gayer. But anyway, do carry on.
Right, so we have here this person who says basically that the reason is that the US does not any longer represent its values. And I want to ask whether he thinks he represents France's values. I don't know. Whether he actually represents France's values.
I'm going to say something controversial here. I don't think any one person can represent the values of a nation, because they are one person, and a nation is a nation. A nation is multiple people. You can't embody the values of multiple people because those values might be different, even if they're of the same ethnicity.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say that there are trends and cultures that arise and people tend to value the same things and disvalue others?
I think that when people talk about it, they're confusing existing in a monoculture, which has created a sort of common culture, but not everyone adheres to it anyway. So looking at the culture is not the interesting part. Looking at the ethnicity is always the best bit.
So he says basically that whatever you say, Josh, Glucksmann wants the Statue of Liberty back. And it's because the US has turned its back on its values. Now, if we isolate the demand, you can say that to a long extent, a lot of people in Western countries have actually turned their backs on their values. But I would put him as well in that.
I did see a story today where a woman said the N-word 200 times and she got arrested for it. So they've turned their back on free speech, apparently. That's the hill I'm dying on.
I mean, hate speech is turning your back to free speech.
Oh, yes, of course.
Because the whole idea of a liberal society is that civil society should be vigilant and do whatever they want, do whatever they think is right, and pursue what they think is good. So if you can't have someone who says, I am a member of this government and want to, let's say, persecute these people who have that abhorrent to me opinion, you have to allow people to, listen or not listen to the people they think they want. That's what praising civil society amounts to. That's what empowering civil society amounts to. Just simple.
Terrible.
As that. Right.
What's the political background of this gentleman?
I think he has to do something with Trump. Right. So we have here this France 24 article. It says a French member of the European Parliament has called for the U.S. to return the Statue of Liberty because the U.S. does not represent its core values. But the core values he is talking about here, obviously, about Trump and about how the U.S. is siding now with dictators, and that wasn't what it was supposed to be, and about the rise of the far right. It's exactly what you'd expect to hear from someone who is very progressive. Mm-hmm. And I have here the Wikipedia article says that he is basically, we don't have this working for some reason.
Would you like a mouse?
I don't.
Hang on.
No, I don't want a mouse. Just keep it there.
You don't want my infected mouse.
Keep it there.
Germ ridden.
I don't want to risk another
interesting background there.
Yeah. So he is basically he founded the French center-left party Place Publique.
Of course he did. Exactly.
And here we see this party. It's exactly what you'd expect a progressive alliance of socialists and Democrat party be. And I don't know, just why would the US be interested in upholding the Democrat socialist values? Why is it that that's the demand of his, and says, just because you didn't do this, just because you don't like what I'm saying and don't like my takes, you have to give it back. You have to give the gift back. That's not how gifts work also.
No, but also he's chose a difficult path for the virtue signalling socialist, because he's appealed to the US Constitution. He's talked about its founding, and we all know that the Republicans, generally speaking, at least the good ones, tend to be a lot more reverent of the US Constitution and keen to preserve it as it was written and intended. And I mean, the only time that a Democrat will argue about the intention of the Constitution as it was founded will be the Second Amendment, when they're saying, well, they only had muskets and cannons, which, it's worth mentioning that owning a cannon is still pretty deadly. But no, shall not be infringed. That's all I'm saying.
And here they say that one of the other co-founders of that party is not necessarily against several positions of Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who is someone who basically says that replacement is happening and is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think he's ethnically French, and he's trying to pursue...
Algerian, isn't he?
I think so. I don't think he's ethnically French, but he is promoting that in France. And he basically says that replacement in France is happening and it's a good thing.
I'm going to have a quick early life check.
I don't know if he is actually turning his back on France's values. Last time I checked, French values weren't about just replacing your population, basically.
He was born in Tangier in Morocco and is of Spanish descent.
Yes, also
Sicilian.
He also has some Algerian background.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so we have here several leftists who are saying, hilarious to see MAGA furious at France and frothing at the mouth over the Statue of Liberty, the one based on a Muslim woman. That's the leftist. And here we have a brutal response by John Rocker. France wants the United States to return the Statue of Liberty. Instead of returning it, I suggest we manufacture and ship them a statue that represents the values of the modern day French government.
I mean, that looks more like a sari than a burqa or a niqab or whatever. So it's made the woman look French. More Indian than Islamic as the intention. But quibbles about accuracy aside, it's a good idea.
Right. So I see here several people who are contemplating it because they say that there is a particular poem engraved at a plaque, the Lotus, that is one of the symbols of multiculturalism in the minds of many.
Hmm.
Now, my position here, which is maybe a bit controversial or unpopular, but that's how it goes, is that we constantly need to look at the time and place. What that poem meant in 1883 when it was written isn't necessarily what its author would mean right now if they uttered the same words. But even if that were the case, even if it's just one person who, she was a poet and she wanted to contribute to the fundraising for the development of the statue, it doesn't mean that just because one person wrote it who was interested in the cause of erecting that statue, that definitely the whole nation needs to constantly abide by her words everywhere.
Yeah, one person wrote a poem, therefore you need infinite Mexicans.
Right. So here we have the statueofliberty.org website, and they are saying essentially about its history, about how we have the sculptor Frederick August Bartholdi, who was really close with a really pro-American Frenchman called Edward Laboulaye, who proposed the idea of erecting that statue. They teamed together and they started building the statue, and it was originally called Liberty Enlightening the World, and it was supposed to be a gift for the centennial celebrations, the 100 years of the existence of the American state. And they built it. It took a long time, and they shipped it, and I think it was completed in 1886. Right, and what happened was that we have here the plaque engraved at the New Colossus in 1903, it's 20 years afterwards, and I'll give you what it says here at the end, which is what a lot of people are debating about with respect to its meaning. It has a big plaque, and it says towards the end, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refused of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest lost to me. I left my lamp beside the golden door." It's by Emma Lazarus. So it's constantly an issue of debating what does the statue represent and how is it going to be constantly reinterpreted in every new historical period.
I mean, it's at that point, immigration to the United States was largely a European affair, wasn't it? So if they were talking about masses of people, I don't imagine they thought we're going to get lots of people from Africa and India and places like that, because they didn't have the air travel that makes it possible, and there wasn't widespread shipping in that direction. So it simply wasn't a reality. But I, for one, would like to see it replaced with like a statue, maybe of Donald Trump and a trebuchet with a,
Come on.
It'd be more interesting, wouldn't it?
Right, but I agree with what you said before about what it meant then and what it means in each different case, because the world changes and society gets more complex, at least in the modern world, and we are dealing with new challenges that we didn't deal with in the 1880s or in the 1780s.
I think also a Colossus of Rhodes would be good. You know how you have a big bronze man with a sword, and you've got to go underneath in a boat to just get into the harbour. Yeah. That's cool.
So what is interesting here is that the Statue of Liberty has become a popular icon as well. It's very symbolic. Everyone wants to incorporate it in their rhetoric, in their position.
It's synonymous with the United States, really, isn't it? To an outsider, anyway. I mean, an American might view it differently from within, but as a British person, if I were to list 30 things that are quintessentially American, you would think to mention the Statue of Liberty, even though it was made by the French.
And that's why
you've owned it. It's become yours, right?
And that's why people want to incorporate it in the rhetoric and want to say that the spirit of the U.S. is what we are saying.
Is always rhetorical, isn't it?
Exactly. And here we have just a Wikipedia entry for the Statue of Liberty in popular culture. You can definitely scroll down and see where it has been used in books,
Countless things,
comics.
surely.
Yeah, I'll just show you two of my
Of course.
my favorites. This is Dawn of the Beginning of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No, that's the first.
The Dawn of the Beginning of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, they
That's
constantly
tongue twister.
add beginnings in every new sequel. But this is the original one, The Planet of the Apes, with Charlton Heston. And he walks and he finds the Statue of Liberty literally buried under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have the Ghostbusters, number 2 in 1989. They literally go into the statue towards the end, and somehow it becomes alive. Because in Ghostbusters, lots of stuff were becoming alive.
The French pressed a button and it became activated.
Yes, and the Ghostbusters were on the helmet of the Statue of Liberty, the crown, and they tried to go and defeat Vigo of Carpathia, I think. But it's nice because it's jolly, and it shows how in different decades people try to incorporate that in popular culture. But also now we are going to the more political stuff, and I have some rainbow interpretations of it, so stay with. Here we have the spooky twist for Halloween. That's
sure it's not just a southern Statue of Liberty there? No,
it's not. It doesn't have a pointy head.
And it looks very pointy to me.
Yeah, but it's 5 or 6 there. No, yeah, they purposefully avoided this. Let us put it that way. Right, and here we have the trans version now, the free stuff for everybody. And we have here Chappelle Roan. I haven't heard
I have no idea who this person is.
Yeah, but she is basically saying, "I'm in drag of the biggest queen of all. In case you've forgotten what's etched in my pretty little toes, give me your tide, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free." And she says that means freedom and trans rights, freedom and women's rights.
It meant trans rights in the late 19th century.
In the late 1880s, yeah. So again, they're trying to incorporate this. So I don't know if people look at this and they want to keep up with it, or maybe say, well, let's just take it back to France. Tell us in the comments.
I don't know about you, but this lady is not the kind of person that I would take political commentary advice from. She's green.
I wouldn't get advice from it, but if you saw, the Democrats had many of influencers and just teleprompter reading singers and songstresses.
Well, it didn't win them the election, did it?
It didn't, but they thought it would. Here we have her showing us her haddled asses or her salacious buttocks.
What?
Yeah. Right,
this is taking a weird turn.
It's taking a weird turn. And we have Statue of Liberty here writing about pride and the Ellis Island experience.
The Statue of Liberty wrote this?
Yeah, they say that they have... Ellis Island has watched over iconic LGBTQ figures on their passage into New York. Coming from a variety of backgrounds and seeking diverse opportunities, these passengers exemplified the bravery that LGBTQ Pride Month celebrates. And they're basically trying to make the Statue of Liberty proud. I don't know if they've made it yet, but they're doing this. So what's worse? It happened a rainbow Statue of Liberty or Statue of Liberty going back to France?
I saw that picture. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think the Statue of Liberty should stay, but also you shouldn't have to, it feels like you'd be giving up part of America because the leftists have latched onto it.
Yeah.
If you have a limpet latching onto the hull of your boat, you don't get rid of your boat. You get a chisel and get off the limpet, don't you?
Exactly. I think basically it's a non-issue fundamentally, but at the end of the day, it's an important, a good indication of how people are constantly taking symbols and reinterpreting them and putting their interpretation in public discussion while paying lip service to the symbol.
I do think that these sorts of things are important, though, in that
Yeah.
the symbols of your civilization are rallying points for basically patriotism, right? And if you surrender these things, or are too dispassionate and not aggressive enough in your rhetoric in guarding the legacy of these things, then you surrender them to the left. The same sort of thing happened with statues.
Yeah.
And I think that you should never give any ground to these dogs.
I absolutely agree with you. That wasn't what I meant when I said non-issue, but
Of course.
thank you for telling me to clarify.
I'm
I meant
clearing
the
it up.
demand to take it back to France.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And also, at the end of the day, why not build a new one or build a bigger one? And instead
They're too busy
of
building mosques in France, that's why.
Instead of focusing on monuments first, why not focusing on actually pursuing sensible policies in France that reverse the trends of its decline, and then build a monument commemorating your success, as opposed to just wanting to get something you gave as a gift back. Just build your own, build a bigger one, and also focus on making your country great, also in reversing its decline. I think that's what counts more.
That's good advice.
But it's also, I think it's really important to tell people and focus again on this, that a lot of the time the minds of people has several functions with symbols, and people want to incorporate the symbols for what is good in their rhetoric, and subversion works to a very large extent by going into a population, into a people with a particular, more or less, with a core set of values that is particularly specific, but sometimes may be implicit in their minds, if not explicit, and try to say, right, you like liberty, you like the Statue of Liberty, you like the tradition of liberty, here is what liberty is. And
you like liberty? Well, you like men now because it's LGBT.
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly what's going on. And I'm saying this because I think that a lot of people, also from MAGA and the right, not so much MAGA, but a lot of from other right spaces, right?
Neocons, perhaps? I don't know what
Not
you're about to
neocons.
say.
No, a lot of people who enter a debate right now, they fall for the trap of this leftist subversion. So they would say, well, if liberty, I don't want liberty because liberty is that. No, you shouldn't allow the leftists to dictate what symbols mean on the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So what we have is a culture that has particular values like free speech, like liberty, like kind of patriotism. And you have people who are trying to subvert them slowly from within and saying, yeah, but I know what true liberty is. I know what true free speech is, and I'm promoting hate speech laws because I want to promote free speech. We have heard this. Mm-hmm. And I'm a true patriot, and true patriots are basically pro-open borders. That's another thing that they're incorporating in the rhetoric. That's why Trudeau was saying, I'm a proud Canadian.
You've got to be very hot on this sort of stuff to spot these things, these rhetorical tricks.
Exactly.
But I think people are wising up to it, aren't they?
They are,
generally speaking.
That's why I want to say this, and that's why I have been constantly defending classical liberalism. It's because a lot of people are taking the modern view, or what is sometimes smeared as the modern view, and say, okay, that's what liberty is, so the only remedy is to turn our backs on liberty.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's possible to live in a classical liberal society if you've got high trust Europeans, no mass migration, and a healthy society.
Hence why it's an important debate to see whether the plaque should be reinterpreted or should be understood to see how it applies to the world of 2025.
Islander issue 3 is now available to purchase from shop.lotus.com and is the next step in the story that we are telling with this magazine. For this issue, we have collected piercing and esoteric essays from the finest right-wing minds on the theme of our civilizational winter. Each of our authors is an expert in bringing forth the most important hidden revelations from the lowest reaches of the soul, and it has all been beautifully rendered in a medievalist revivalist aesthetic. For this issue, I commissioned a new translation of the ancient Anglo-Saxon poem, The Wanderer, and have written a companion essay exploring how it is a reflection of our modern experience. I personally feel that this is the most important thing I've ever written, so I will be looking forward to your feedback on it. We have resolved our distribution issues, with the magazines being printed in advance of the orders, so we can guarantee that you will receive your copy very soon after ordering it. And you will also receive emailed updates so you can see exactly where it is. Hopefully, issue 3 can provide you with the space and context to engage in deep reflection about the nature of our circumstances, to discover hidden truths about yourself and find the resolve to make it through our spiritual exile.